Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am back looking at some more War Thunder related content. Today we are on the Gaijin market and we're going to be taking a quick overview of the various skins available in the Project X Trophy 1. Now, as you may know, on the market there was previously the Advancing Storm Trophy where you could unlock it using one of the keys that you can get on the market, and there was a variety of rare vehicles or skins that you could get from that trophy. Now I'm going to start off with, of course, the Project X decal. So here it is. So it's uncommon at the moment. Relatively cheap, just 0.18 Gaijin coin at the moment. So relatively cheap price. And it's just a very basic decal. So we're just going to close that. Go back onto this. So the first camouflage is I believe it's a Jagdpanzer 4.5 experimental camouflage. So it's 1983 to 1984. Relatively nice looking camouflage, sort of a orangey colour, orangey yellow sand colour with dark green or olive green. Interesting colour. You got the German sort of Bundeswehr logo, and you got some numbers, all that sort of stuff, designations. So this is currently going for 130 Gaijin coin, so relatively cheap at the moment. It is, of course, a tier 5 vehicle, I believe, so it's, you know, not a bad price for a nice camo, but it looks okay. I probably won't pick it up, though, as I don't have the vehicle. Next up, we have got the PT-76B, and it's the skin for the Soviet Naval Infantry in 1980. Now, not all of these are historical. This one does say historical, though, so I'm presuming it's all good. Now, pretty simple, really. You've got the Soviet Navy flag, a line down the middle, a few bits of white around it, and then you've got this red and white sort of pole on the side, but it's relatively simple. 177 Gaijin coin at the moment, so it's quite expensive. I do have this vehicle, but I don't tend to use it much, so I probably won't be picking up this skin anytime soon. Next up, we've got the M41A1, and it's the Jaegers T Pard Battalion Belgium. So we've got a Belgium military skin for this, so interesting skin. Although it is still sort of a plain camouflage with just a few things on it, and it's going for 0.95 Gaijin coin. This is a historical skin, and it's for the United States variant of the tank. So, you know, it's relatively simple. I won't pick it up as it is quite plain. The more unique skins I will probably, but this sort of thing's the kind of thing I would sell on. This is 1960s skin. And next up is a skin for the Panther 2. Now, this one I might pick up. So this is the PZ KPFW Panther 2 RO2 Stab / Panzerlehr Regiment 130 Germany, fall 1945. So this is a semi-historical, so not a real vehicle, of course. The Panther 2 never actually went into service. This is currently going for 650 Gaijin coin at the cheapest, but it's really up into the 7s for majority of the pricing. And people are only currently willing to pay around 270 max. If I got this in a trophy, I would definitely keep it. Very interesting camouflage. Definitely the sort... I think it definitely motivates you to play a vehicle more if you have a nice camo for it. And this definitely looks quite nice. So, very lovely camouflage there. Definitely something I'll be willing to invest in once the price goes down a bit. Next up then is the M10 Wolverine Notre Dame des Victoires, which is, I believe this, I take it this will be for the French variant. Yep, so this is for the French variant of the tank. Basically standard camo, a few bits of writing, some logos, pretty simple really. Currently going for 0.7, so, you know, not the most wanted skin. It's an interesting thing, just makes the tank look a little bit nicer, but not the kind of thing I would invest in. Again, I'll probably sell it off if I was to get it. Next up is the Northrop P61C1, the Spook, which of course is the Black Widow, the brilliant airplane. Now, in the previous Advancing Storm trophy, there was a skin for the premium version. So now they've got one for the actual Tech Tree one. So this is April 1945. And apparently it crashed on landing in heavy fog at Iwo Jima in April 20th, 1945. And it was salvaged a bit later on, but still historical skin, currently going for 0.45, so, you know, I thought this would go for a bit more. You've got a nice little design on the nose, some eyes, mouth, so it's interesting design, but, you know, it's not going for that much. I would compare this to the dragon skin for the A26 that was in the previous trophy. And next up, a skin for the P51H. Now, previously there was not a sort of picture for this, but now we do have one. This is historical, apparently, which is interesting. So yeah, personal aircraft of Major Edward Giller, and this is from the year. Okay, I don't believe it says a year. Currently going for 2 Gaijin coin, 2.33 Gaijin coin. So it's not bad. Decent looking skin. Definitely will make it a bit more interesting to play. It's quite a plain aircraft. It's just silver at the moment. So probably something I might invest in the future. Although I don't really play the H much. So I might not. Next up then is a IS-2 Mod 1944 skin, which is definitely interesting to see. Yeah, it's quite simple. Reminds me a lot of the vehicle that was in the, I believe it was the Victory is Ours trailer. So, you know, quite interesting there. But it is a nice skin. You got the white line on the turret. You got some designation numbers, as well as the Soviet star with, I believe, the bear on it, which was given out actually as a decal for an event about a year ago. So it's quite interesting, but I have this tank, so I might invest in this. Just makes it look a little nicer. Bit expensive at the moment. One of them is sitting at 3 Gaijin coin 0.53, and the other ones are going up towards the 5 Gaijin coin range. So a bit expensive at the moment, in my opinion. And next, a BMP-1. Definitely interesting there. Shark Mouth. Now, that makes it look a lot more interesting. Really like that design. Reminds me a lot of the LVT skin that was in the previous bundle, but you know, not too expensive for the vehicle. It's 2.38 Gaijin coin, 2 of them at that price, so it's not too bad. Though people look to be asking for it around 118, 117, so we'll see if the price goes up or down, but this is a historical skin as well, which definitely adds some value to it. Next up is the Matilda Mark II Galleon. So this is the Great Britain variant of the tank. Malta 1942. Just an interesting paint scheme, not a huge amount to say here, just sort of wavy lines connecting and all that sort of stuff. So quite simple there. And that is currently going for a relatively cheap price. Next up is one that is going for a lot of Gaijin coin at the moment. This is the M1 Abrams. This is the 3-tone NATO camouflage, and it's a historical skin. Well, it's going for about 60 Gaijin coin at the moment. 60 to 70 is the current price range. People are only asking for about 20. But this is insanely expensive right now. Definitely, though, if I got this, I would not be... I wouldn't sort of activate it straight away. I'd see if the price goes up, then of course I would sell it. But, you know, it would be nice to make the Abrams look a bit nicer, a bit more interesting. But definitely interesting how much this is going for. Next up, we've got a Japanese tank, I believe. Yep, the Type 97 Chiha, number 381. A semi-historical skin, just a basic paint scheme with some number and lettering over. Selling rather cheap. Not many people are really bothered about this skin. Another Japanese tank up next. We've got the Type 61 Experimental. So we had a skin for this vehicle in the previous skin crate. And in this one, it's another interesting skin. The previous one was a training camouflage. This is an experimental. I might pick this up if the price goes down a bit more. I don't really play this vehicle, but it'll be a nice, unique skin to have, definitely. Nice skin for the Leopard 2K by the looks of it. That is a very nice looking camouflage. Lots of detail in there. So you've got the Bundeswehr logo there. It's the basic Flecktarn pattern. This is a fictional paint scheme though, so this was not a real paint scheme whatsoever. But it does make this tank look far more interesting for sure. Currently going for 950 Gaijin coin, but going up into the 10 to 11 Gaijin coin range. Next up, a skin for the Ferdinand, the last produced Ferdinand. So this is historical, and this was the last one ever built in a factory paint scheme. As soon as it came out of the factory, this is exactly what it looked like. There's some drawings on it, which apparently it says here, inscriptions and drawings done in chalk by the factory workers. Currently going for around 298 Gaijin coin, but moving up into the 3 to 5 Gaijin coin range. People are only asking for it though for about 174, 171. So, you know, it's interesting. It is historical, so definitely reminds me a lot of the KV220. So, you know, could be something to look into in the future. Next up, the AMX 30, 1972, the Mechanized Infantry Regiment. So, definitely very interesting. This is Spain, so I believe it's a Spanish army. Currently going for 0.92, but then jumping up to just below 150 Gaijin coin. It's semi-historical, so it isn't fully historical, but it is rather interesting. Slightly different shade of camouflage, and then some nice emblems on the front of the vehicle. Now, this one's very interesting. This is a M4A376W, the Rice Red Devils of the C Company, the 89th Tank Battalion. So I believe that this was actually used in the 50s, I believe in the Korean War. So this isn't going as much as I thought. I thought this would be going for quite a bit. It's only going for about 0.95 Gaijin coin at the moment. But it's definitely an interesting scheme, and since it's historical, it should... there's a setting, of course, in game you can turn off non-historical skins. Hopefully this will still appear, and it's definitely quite a menacing skin to have on your tank. And it's definitely for a brilliant tank anyway, so I can imagine a lot of people wanting to pick this up. And next up, we've got one for the M26 Pershing. It's just titled A6. I believe it's just based on a particular tank from 1945 in Czechoslovakia. It's got the big American Army sort of roundel on the front, some emblems, but then other than that, it's pretty basic. Going for a bit more than I would think. Currently at 2.25 Gaijin coin, but you know, it's okay. It's I guess it brightens up the tank a little bit. Next up, we've got the BF109F4. Now, it's kind of funny because I believe in-game there's a skin that is very similar to this, but this one just has emblems and various things added on. So, nothing you couldn't really do with decals already in-game. But, you know, it's on here, and it's going for about 328 at the moment. So, it's definitely interesting for sure. I think it's definitely brightens up the aircraft, and the F4 is definitely a brilliant aircraft in-game. So, I might pick this up in the future if the price goes down a bit. Next up, looks like the Lag 366 of Lieutenant Yuri Shitov, which is the 9th IAP of Black Sea Fleet, 1943. Pretty basic. Most Soviet aircraft are. You got the standard paint scheme and just a few emblems. Currently going for a very cheap price, basically in between 0.4 and 0.7 Gaijin coin. It's quite basic, so I wouldn't expect it to go for too much. So if you did want to pick this up, it's probably going to be quite cheap for a while. Next up, it looks like a P-51 D5 Moonbeam McSwine. So, Captain William T. Wisner of the 487th Fighter Squadron and the 352nd Fighter Group. Currently going for 3.39 Gaijin coin. Definitely looks interesting, but it's, you know, I don't believe the D5 has any other skins in game, so it is good that they've got this now, so that's quite good. And it's got the various things all over it. So emblems, some kill marks. So that's definitely quite interesting. Here we go. So a D5 20 skin. So this is the France variant of the aircraft, not the rare British variant. Now this is number 266 of René Pomer Lairagus, I believe. Group de Chasse 27, 1940. So currently going for a relatively low price of 0.77 Gaijin coin. It's just a weathered D520 with a blue rudder section, a number on the rudder, and then a small emblem of a panther by the looks of it. So just a few changes and a bit of weathering really. So it is interesting, and if the price goes down even more, I might pick it up. And next up, we have got a Hawker Typhoon skin, which I probably will pick up purely because, one, it's a Night Fighter skin, which definitely isn't too bad. Plus, it's the Mark 1B Late, which is, I believe, a rare premium variant. I believe that's the one this is. And if it is, I have that, so this is definitely... It's only got a desert skin as well as the standard skin. This is far more interesting, a heavily weathered Night Fighter skin. So, you know, definitely something that I might look into getting. Price is currently sitting at around 238, 239 Gaijin coin. So it's a bit expensive, but you know, I think this could be worth investing, as if they add any more British aircraft to the tech tree, I could use this to grind them out, and it would definitely be a nice skin to chuck on my aircraft. So next up, a lovely little skin for a Tier 1 aircraft, the Kai-27, 64th Sentai 1939. So as you can see, it's just a interesting Japanese camouflage, white sort of background with green blobs and green sections over. And then you've got an emblem on the rudder, and then just the standard Japanese roundels. Interesting design. Currently, though, for some reason, the price is at 10 Gaijin coin up to 28 Gaijin coin. So obviously it's quite a rare skin to pick up at this time. Although, of course, the pack was only released today, so things will become less rare over the next few days. Next up, finally, we have got the B29A BN Keybird. So the Keybird was marooned after an emergency landing in Greenland, and I believe they did try to recover it. Unfortunately, on the day they were going to fly out, it set on fire and was burnt to bits. So, unfortunately, the Keybird didn't fly again. But on the other hand, it is now in-game as this skin. And I think it is really nice to have the B29 now able to have that black underside design. A lot of B29s sort of post-World War II did have that. A lot of the ones I've seen in real life, I've seen a few. And most of them do have that design, not the silver underside like in-game. So it is definitely quite good to have that. This is, of course, a spy/recon mission. But, you know, it's interesting to see. It's nice to have a paint scheme where it's a slightly change on the B29. Of course, I probably won't be getting this purely because of the current repair cost of the B29, which is a bit crazy. So if that cost goes down, I might pick this up just to make it a bit more interesting to play. Next up, this is something I'm definitely going to get. There's no sell orders though right now, so I might have to wait a bit or just see if I can be lucky enough to get one in the actual trophy itself. But this is a Reconnaissance Spitfire Mark 1. It's historical, so it will appear on other people's game when you're flying it, whatever, and it's pink, which is just hilarious. It's a pink Spitfire Mark 1, so while you're wrecking people in low-tier games, you can have this skin and make them feel a bit more humiliated. Now, this is Spitfire PR Mark 1G, assigned to James T. Morgan, 1st Photo Recon Unit, B-Flight, and it says St. Eval, Cornwall, England, 1941. Now, there are now level, you know, big price range there, but definitely something once the price goes down, I will definitely pick this thing up because I just think it will be absolutely brilliant, especially if I do airshow events and such. This could be something brilliant to take along, definitely. And next up, the Tandem Mai. Not something I expected for them to chuck on here, but here we go. So, definitely interesting. This is effectively a semi-historical Battle of Moscow skin. It's basically just white, various red sections, some lettering, and then a yellow propeller sort of spinner. So quite interesting scheme there. And here we go. So we now have I believe it's Royal Thai Air Force Kai 43-2. This is semi-historical. And, you know, it's going very cheaply, not the kind of thing most people want. It's a low-tier vehicle. People probably aren't going to play it much anyway, so no, not many people really want it. It's going rather cheap. Now, this one's definitely interesting. I might consider getting this as the price isn't too high for what it is. Now, this is a J7W1 skin, and it's just the Shark. Now, as you may know, there's only one in-game skin for this aircraft, and it's just plain green. So even though this is fictional, and it looks sort of anime manga type thing, sort of inspired by manga and anime, but you know, it looks really interesting. Definitely something good to have. I believe it's got a little shark face on the front, but you know, definitely something I might pick up because the price is relatively low at the moment. 3 sell orders starting at 150 Gaijin coins, so not too bad there, to be fair. Now moving on to the final line. Now this skin I am definitely going to pick up. So this is the MD450B Oregon. So this is the Patrie de France skin, which of course is the French Air Force display team. This is 1956, semi-historical, so it's not fully historical. Currently you have one of them sitting at 0.75 Gaijin coin, and then a few more basically working up to 2 Gaijin coin. Now the price for this is rather low. Now I understand that it's an aircraft that isn't the best at its current rating, and isn't the best performing, but still, this is a really nice skin. I would have expected it to go for quite a bit more. Although, for sure, I am definitely going to be buying this skin and chucking it on my MD450B, because it's definitely quite a nice skin. I really love the rudder design with the blue and the stars, and the around the roundel as well, with those colours sort of merging along the airframe. Next up is a Pack FA skin for the MiG-17. Now, this is based on... The Pack FA is I believe it's a 5th or 6th generation... basically, a very modern Russian fighter aircraft, which has been developed. I'm not entirely sure who's developed it. I thought that it was MiG, but it probably isn't. I'm probably wrong there. So do comment below. Let me know who actually made the Pack FA. But yeah, so it's also known as the T-50. So, yeah, I believe it might have been Sukhoi. So I think Sukhoi built the T-50 or the Pack FA, but this is the prototype scheme. So with most aircraft, they'll have this scheme when they're first made, where you got, especially if it's an aircraft that's been modified. For example, you'll have the standard silver base coat and then green sections where there's been modifications or major components added or removed. So that's interesting. Not a huge amount of demand right now. The price is sitting below 2 Gaijin coin, pretty much going at the lowest currently 2 sitting at 130 Gaijin coin, but not too bad. Interesting skin for sure, but I don't really like the looks of it myself. So yeah, but it doesn't have a jet flame, so that's one bonus. Jets without jet flames, I'm definitely happy with, so that's good. Now, what have we got here? Looks to be a KV-1S, which is a very good tank. Really love the turret armor on this thing. And it's just strong. So I believe the writing on the side is just strong in Soviet. 14th Guards, Tanks Regiment, Don Front 1942. Historical skin. Looks to be a standard KV-1S skin, just with some markings and insignias. Next up looks to be a Cromwell Mark V, the Galahad skin. So again, fairly standard fairly standard tank skin in general, just fitted with various insignias and stuff. Currently going cheap. There's 2 currently under 1 Gaijin coin, so I would guess that this would stay relatively low. I see no reason for the price of this to skyrocket. Now, this is quite good. Centurion Mark 10. This is a tank that I've got a talisman on, so I do use this quite a bit, so I might pick this up, actually. The Very Diabolic, which is the name of the tank, Centurion Mark 10. C Squadron, 1st, I believe that's Army Regiment, Vietnam, 1971. So it's a Vietnam vehicle. Currently going for 111 Gaijin coin, up to about 2.09 Gaijin coin. 6 buy requests for 10, so there's not a huge amount of demand for this skin. But, it's not bad. I definitely will pick it up at some point in the future, just because of how much I purely use the vehicle. Next up, we've got a KV-1 Zis 5, which is a vehicle I personally don't have. This is a Leningrad skin. It is fictional, as you can probably tell from the big picture of Lenin on the back of the turret there. But it's definitely a very interesting skin. Sort of, definitely does have the looks of the KV-220 with that paint scheme. But I really do like that design with the Lenin reaching forward towards the Soviet sort of insignia, the sickle and hammer. But yeah, definitely quite interesting there. And next up, we have a Hawker Hunter skin, a historical for the Royal Jordanian Air Force. So this is it's 1966. So it's supposed the scheme is for a Mark 6, but this is of course the one in games in F1. Currently going for a relatively high price, from about 3.98 Gaijin coin to basically 5 Gaijin coin. So not too bad. So they basically the Royal Jordanian Air Force had 21 hunters, and they were all destroyed on the ground by Israeli's Air Force at the start of the 6-Day War. So this aircraft was effectively destroyed. So not a great history there, but it is a nice looking skin. I really like the rudder design with the checked pattern on the rudder. Next up, we've got a Sabre skin, which I'm pretty sure is fictional. Yeah, so this is World Cup 2018 camouflage contest. Very interesting skin, I will say that. This is a A5 Sabre, so the first one. Very interesting, not much to say there. It's unhistorical, going relatively low in terms of price, but it's interesting looking for sure. Next up, we've got, looks to be a A6M5 Otsu Raven. So, yeah, this is a 2018 camouflage contest for Japan. Interesting looking for sure. I'm not going to pick it up as it's fictional, and it's a football skin, and I'm not really that into football, to be fair, so probably won't pick it up, but it is definitely interesting looking. I really do love the pattern on the rudder with the symbols, and the looks to be like peacock feathers on the rudder, so quite interesting there. And it is going for under 1 Gaijin coin at the moment for most of the sell prices. So there's some more World Cups. So we've got a Leopard 1A1 Germany goalkeeper jersey. World Cup 2018. Very interesting. Just look, basically the German goalkeeper design, German flags around it, some stars, number 1 on it. Very interesting design, but you know, I don't have the 1A1. Hopefully I will, because I'm journeying towards the Leopard 2A4, but at the moment there's no point me getting this skin. And finally, we are taking a look at this skin, which despite being okay, I don't tend to use it as a fighter, but you can do if you need to. And it is the France World Cup 2018, but just purely forgetting that it's a World Cup skin, that is a really nice looking skin. Definitely going to be quite good for doing displays at in-game air shows, that sort of stuff. And that wing design I just absolutely love with the French flag there. But you know, definitely something interesting. As I say, going for about 240, up to 10 Gaijin coin. The highest buy order is currently at 130 Gaijin coins. You know, it's not the highest, but it's okay. By the looks of it, you cannot. So basically, Project X decal, or in rare cases, a unique vehicle. I'm presuming they're going to be the exact same rare vehicles that are currently available alongside the previous trophies. So stuff like the ME262, the rare 262 on rare occasions, but mostly lower tier stuff. But it is very rare to get one still, so definitely you will be very lucky. In my opinion, if you do get a rare vehicle, don't really sell it unless you already have it. If you do already have it, then feel free to sell it. But there we go, so that was an overview of the Project X Trophy 1. Video has gone on a bit long, but I just wanted to take a quick overview of each of the skins. Overall, there are some very good ones, and some that I'm not really that bothered about, but we'll see how the pricing changes over the next more or less rare in the game. Anyway though, thanks a lot for watching the video. If you did enjoy or found it informative, please consider leaving a like. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. If you do, that would be very much appreciated. And definitely something that I'll be very happy with. The channel has been growing very well recently, so it would be good if we could keep that momentum up. Anyway though, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.